Section 3, Operations, Practices, and Procedures. 1. Basic skills. The recommended practice contained herein shall not exclude an inclusive situation. Consider sound judgment, applying correct principles of safety, exercising judgment, and avoiding careless and paramount to any safety operation. General conditions. A proper clothing is necessary to work safely. Personnel should wear clothing that will not interchange with vision, hearing, or free use of hands and feet. Shoes shall be suitable for duty in which engage. The wearing of thin-soled shoes, unbuckled overshoe, loose or torn, baggy clothing that's soaked with oil, grease, or solvent is unsafe. Safety shoes are recommended, and safety equipment is required for local railroad equipment directives, standards, operating procedures, SOP, standard instruction, etc. For example, of local operation directives, requirements to wear gloves to protect their hands, engineers to wear Google safety glasses, protect their eyes from the airborne particles and around the locomotive compartment. When working with moving equipment, secure the hand grips, footings, and essential. Also equipped in many directions, anytime prepared for serve jolts. Railroad work requires heavy lifting and awkward objects. Protecting your own back and personnel, remaining physically fit and to follow the accepted safety limit methods is speed in figure 3.1, the current method of lifting. When watching the signals, direct opposite train movement exercises extreme to be struck from obstacles, and train work frequently involves close clearance. When near tracks, crossing tracks on foot, avoid standing and walking on the track, especially when necessary. In the vicinity of the track, personnel should maintain close vigilance from any track movement. When crossing over the track, look on both directions for the approaching trains, locomotives, cars with crossing tracks, or step over the rail and not on them. When possible, cross over in the areas designated for that purpose. When crossing over the track, always leave at least 20 feet between yourself and the end of the cars, and crossing 2 cuts of the cars is necessary. Cross midway before the cuts. Locomotive safety. Only one personnel shall be permitted in the engine room or cab of the locomotive. The engine room catwalks, F's, and grab irons shall be clear of debris and free oil and grease and rags. When transporting equipment of locomotives, it should be placed where it will not create a hazard. Personnel should not be perform work and locomotive equipment while wearing rings, metal wristwatches, or jewelry or other medical articles. Personnel should not put face and hands in many generator or any high voltage equipment while it is running. Do not open the high voltage cabinet when the generator is unloaded. Do not put hands in the radiator shutters or other equipment which engages automatically. Pier equipment. Pier equipment considered in long enough crossing that the crew should only be consistent and parked and moving vehicles, walking and standing personnel in areas on the near track being used in purpose of unrelated operations. Due to the clearance of the many pier areas installation, commander shall consider of the pier or operations determining the speed limits. Due to the type of material stored, moved on one pier, special attention should be paid to the method of securing the load and unloading. The rail car shall not be coupled into without proper authorization. Track crews and repair at all times the rapid evacuation of pier during an emergency, for example, of a fire. A barricade operation. No car shall be moved in a barricade in or out of a barricade without proper authorization. Track crew shall extreme caution when moving railway cars out of the barricade, since distances are often restricted due to the clearance of barricaded areas. The installation commander shall all barricade operations determination of the speed, the mounting and dismounting of riding, climbing, and railway cars, locomotives. Car locomotives and mounting and dismounting. In railway car, they need to mount, to dismount in critical cars to getting the job done. accident records show the one of 4 accidents of railway equipment occurs when people are mounting or dismounting railway cars or locomotives. The following steps are avoided injury: the move of equipment, face the equipment and place your trailing foot on the step that establishes the firm grip with both hands. Then grip on the foot of the solid stance. A railway car is to be boarded and on the trailing end of mismounting and lessening possibilities of personal injury if the crew member slips. The mismounting and equipment of the release of the trailing foot is to avoid moving equipment is getting off, and do not release your hand until you have a firm footing. When stepping between the engines of a car or cars, watch the equipment in motion on adjacent track. Always in the direction of movement. Be alert in any objects in tightening clearance that they could injure you. The mounting dismountment equipment also ensures that you are slow enough in footing and balancing them will be lost. The speed is no higher than 6 miles an hour, which is jogging speed. New employees should first practice these procedures stationary equipment, then practice the 2 speeds which they are comfortable when conditions signal have to the moment to stop. 2. The car locomotive riding. Only operating management and personnel as responsible as an authorized installation commander and transportation manager are permitted to ride in the railroad equipment. Observe the following railway cars and locomotives. May look out of the obstructions that they are endangered your safety. Always ride on the side ladder. If clearance permits, face the direction of the movement. Normally crew members ride on the engineer's side to facilitate the hand and lamp signals. Keep your firm grip and footing at all times. If be prepared to any direction at any time. Don't ride or open top loaded with material that is likely to shift. Never ride and walk on the roof of moving railway car locomotive. Know your territory and vigilante or close clearances. Know your territory and be vigilant for close clearances. Rail car locomotive climbing observance. Following when climbing. 3. Side ladders do not end ladders when going up and down a railway car. Each car and crew members set handbrakes to avoid the tight clearance. If necessary between the cars, avoid putting hands and feet when they are caught in the railway cars should be unaccepted. Never put a foot on the coupler of the coupler or on the end sill. The coupler can move, cause serious injury, and see Figure 4. Example: unsafe areas between railway cars. When climbing, never release hand hold until the firm grip with the other hand. Never jump from one car to another, either on the same adjacent track. Switching operations. Switching operations include coupling, uncoupling, coupling, air hoses, setting up handbrakes, releasing handbrakes, cock wheels, and third out for procedures, procedures, and coupling, uncoupling procedures. Observe the following when coupling and uncoupling railway cars. No person other than a crew member shall couple or uncouple cars. Before the standard locomotive railway cars, to couple, uncouple, ensure that it has adjusted to the train. If cars are graded, ensure they are secure brakes and wheels and chocked. When coupling railway cars, the railway car approaching shall be brought to the full stop, reaching the car to be coupled. The distance between the railway car and the locomotive shall be stood to a minimum of 3 feet and a maximum of 5 feet. After the train has fully stopped, only one of the knuckles within a cut lever standing clear of the knuckle and standing off the ground, off the knuckle pin broken, missing, or standing clear if the knuckle could fall to the ground. If the knuckle pin is broken or missing, it is not necessary to adjust one drawbar. Follow above the procedures for moving between the railway cars. The ground crew shall signal the engineer to produce a slow speed to complete the coupling. After the coupling has secured the couple of the air hose and charge of the air brake system, see below. To uncouple the use of a cut lever. A cut lever is an inoperative stop of movement. Crossover cut the cut lever off the other railway car. Do not uncouple railway cars on curves unless they are necessary. It may be difficult to couple a railway car at a later time. Do not go between railway cars, locomotives for any reason during the coupling or uncoupling procedures. Do not go to signal to move a locomotive or a railway car while employ is between locomotive or railway cars. Do not cross or off moving equipment for a signal or has been given to move. A couple of air hoses. Observe the following when coupling air hoses. Establish a clear understanding and intentions with the engineer. Make a train that has stopped and slack adjusted, and check the angle cocks to ensure that they are closed. The handle perpendicular to the brake pipe. When stepping between the railway cars, the coupling keep one of the outside railway maintenance balance. Grasp and hose and fully behind couplings and put them jointly and securely. Slowly they turn the angle cock to the fully open position parallel to brake pipes. All parts of body, flange, and angel cocks are open, but beware of live air hose. Keep all appearance of the body of the range of angle cocks are open and beware of live air hoses. Setting hand brakes. Observe the following in hand brakes. Do not use hand brakes until equipment has movement is ceased. And when setting hand brake, take a position appropriate brake type. Ensure the handles prevent the slips, falls, sprains, and strains. And if required, climb on the railway car. Keep 1 foot over the ladder and over the foot of another on the braking platform. The grasp of the ladder is a hand-held grip iron with one hand apply the steady pressure, and do not jerk the wheel or lever, especially when going to heavy pressure. Reach behind the wheel and not through the spokes those that release to its own position. To rotate the brake clockwise and slack if taken up. Turn wheel until chain wheel tension insufficient. To prevent movement, ensure railway cars and choke the railway hand brakes. Observe the following procedure when release the hand brakes. The hand brakes are cut and caught off the cars and should not be released until coupling has been sufficiently made and air hoses are coupled and braking and system and they have fully charged. The circumstance braced and suddenly movement of hand brake wheel and through the other release lever into the position where many brakes are equipped and released with enough to release the brake. Other hand brakes require turning a wheel counterclockwise to gradually release them. Although keep hands that are arm and free of the wheel spokes, some module pins will be released and could cause injury. Most hand brakes require the use only one to hand release, and if the brake has been set to and tight to be released with one hand and get some help. Choking. We observe the following choking railway cars and locomotives. Hand brakes, chocking, and going to the hand-to-hand. It shall not be substituted for the other hand. With single railway cars spotted parked, the handbrake shall be set and chocked on both sides of the same wheel. When the cut of the railway car is parked on the downgrade, the handbrakes on the lead car downgrade end and shall be set. The car shall be choked on both sides in the same wheel. Both sides of the same wheel. When we cut off the car parked and crest, double downgrade, the handbrakes on each end of the cut shall be set. The car on each end of the cut shall be choked. In addition, choking the lead car of the downgrade, sufficient numbers of the cars should also be choked. Railway cars consider choking additional to prevent movement in railway check and if an operating movement directly as possible. 6. The procedure of following the switch of turnout. The following basic rules applies to all types. Observe all the following. Which of the switches made a crew member shall ride to the point of the direction of the travel. The crew member shall signal an engineer to stop 3 to 6 feet before reaching the turnout switch. Before the switch is, and ensure the impeding movements of either over the switch or proper switch alignment and define. Check the switch points and rocks, wood, foreign objects that may interfere with the switch operation. Unlock the switch if necessary. Take a firm, steady chance at body clearing of all parts. Release the latches if equipped. Caution: a switch handle and may under tension should be fly with which latch is released. Bends the knees and grabs the handle of both hands and watch the cord. Close the clearance of the fingers and not crush under the handle. Lift the slow. Ensure the pressure until the legs muscles, and use the pressure to lower the handle into the keeper so it is equipped. The fork cannot be strained and suddenly stopped. Balance is equipmentally thought and double check to see keeper is locked out and is, if so, equipped that they were switch points and properly. And if so equipped that the switch points are properly aligned. The switch point has been thrown. A crew member shall signal the engineer to proceed through the turnout. Relock the switch through and using it if required by local operating directives. Crew members shall ensure turnout and properly align prior to reverse movements. The lever switches pull rather than lift. For lever switches, pull rather than lift the lever. To throw a lever switch, trip the latch with one hand, get a firm grip and sure footing, and put a lever position using leg and muscles assist. Report a defective switch to the railway if the dispatcher immediately. Observe the following procedures and precautions when the handle switches. Switches over the spring and automatically switches should not be run through. If the switch run throughs and is unsafe, it should not be used until inspected, repaired, and track maintenance personnel. If a locomotive car or personnel or a car partially runs through a switch, and entire movement should be continued. A switch shall be lifted aligned in accordance with its local operation. The switch targets would show the green when lined in normal route and red when lined on a sided route. In most cases, the normal route is the route and that keeps the train locomotive on the main track. And after lining a switch and track crew member attending the opposite of the main track when necessary, the no return operation movement has been completed. When practicable opposite side of the track crew member should be at least 20 feet from the operating switch stands. The person handled and switch responsible for correct position. The engineer shall confirm the switch is near the locomotive, properly lined, and shall require the same attention as the track member. Some attention from crew members. Never foul another track with cars unless they are approved from dispatch. Derail procedures. The installation commander shall review the need to protect areas and derail devices and shall procedure for their local railroad operation. Installation shall ensure derailment and procedure compares conspicuously marked. Derailment devices should normally be set at derailing positions. Crew members shall maintain and alert derailment devices and unintentional derailment of railway equipment. Railways should not be spotted with the full power derail devices. The crew members should be leaved and devices to open close in accordance with local operating directives. Inspections during operations. Locomotive inspection and setup. Prior to accepting a locomotive for a service, that engineer is a completely daily operator inspection. A visual inspection should include a walk around the locomotive, a check of onboard components, a fluid levels, checks of leaks, or other usual locomotive engine startup. Specifically, engine startup requirements such as test cocks of EMD engines and manual turning on the engine to check for liquid for the cylinder may be required. Before starting a work shift, the engineer should ensure that the locomotive brake is RM safe and suitable conditions for a service. The device in regulating all purpose shall be properly performing their functions, and the brake valves that shall work properly in all positions, that the water shall be drained from air brake system. Completely listed below inspected operational worthiness. Engineers shall perform locomotive inspection list Appendix B, example of checklist components that will be checked, and the installation commander may augment this form to meet local requirements if deficiencies and discoveries are completed in Form 4. Locomotive accept report and Appendix B locomotive inspection sheet and checklist and locomotive inspection checklist and locomotive inspection report will be turned into the railroad supervisor. The supervisor shall report these deficiencies to maintenance. And items 1 through 13 should be checked prior to the engine startup. Safety appliances, handles, and fire extinguishers during the walk ground and engineers' mounts of the local locomotive safety apparel shall be checked and ensured to unsafe conditions. Several bent, missing hand holds and steps in, etc. Air brake hoses or locomotives shall be checked to ensure that they are serviceable, missing, damaged, or shall be replaced to be using in the locomotive for service. For example, air hose defectives, wear limits, control hoses, and multiple units MU cables in the locomotive that will be the MU service, and the main reservoir hosing down and brake system in equalizing hose and on each end of the locomotive shall be checked and missing and damaged and shall be replaced. The locomotive shall be in the MU service for the condition of the MU connection of the cables that shall be checked. For obvious defects, the locomotive engine oil mounting of locomotive prior to the locomotive engine startup of the engine level air shall be checked and filled, and if necessary, if any engine is not equipped for the low oil shutdown and the check is critical, compromised oil level locomotive lubricating oil compressed shall be checked and filled and if necessary. Governor oil. The governor oil shall be checked and filled if necessary. The engine coolant level shall be checked and filled if necessary. Handbrake test. The engineer shall check the operation of the handbrake. 9. The engine shall protect protective defects if equipped. The low water and oil pressure reset button, the engine overspeed lever shall be checked. All inspections shall be checked for proper fit. All air and fuel oil cleaner filters and shall be visually checked for contamination. Couplers, knuckles, end of locomotive shall be checked for visible flaws, and presence of knuckles and knuckle pins shall be confirmed. Wheels and cylinders and brake rigging and other truck components. The wheels shall be visually checked for an obvious defect such as the metal, large and flat pools, then and flanges and plate discoloration. See figures 3.6 and 3.7 for examples of wheels defects that sanders and checked and see that they are properly aimed and are not damaged. The braking rigging shall be checked integrally and show who's checked for adequate wear. Remaining the rest of the truck shall be checked for obvious defects of the missed springs, check frame, or loose dragging component. Fuel. 13. Fuel oil tank. Check the fuel oil level and check the oil tank for leaks. 14. Sandbox level. The sandbox level should be checked adequately and supplies available. Switch settings. Check the main battery, ground relay to ensure that they are closed. Close the local control. Fuel pump, circuit breakers. Ensure that they are turned on the generator filled will show, and until locomotive movement is required, and all fuses shall be checked for proper installation. Headlights. The headlights on both ends of the locomotive shall be operated dim and bright, if to more than likely than the MUD proper lead unit under setting, which should be confirmed. Note that the items 17 and 20 shall be checked, and if in many reservoirs sure is operating levels, the locomotive brakes. Engineer shall complete the locomotive brake setup and test per section 3.4A and 3.4B. The horn shall audibly be checked for adequately sound production for brief reference of should and from minimum sound levels of 96 decibels and at a point of 100 feet forward of the locomotive in its direction of the travel. The bell should be checked and operation proper operation. The window wipers and windows wipers checked and for proper operation of good glass contact. The miscellaneous water, air, and oil leaks during operation of locomotive shall periodically be checked for any unusual locomotive or unusual water, lubricant, fuel, oil, or air leaks. The cab engine compartment cleanliness. All trash, unnecessary items shall be removed from the cab requirement. Engine compartment. The engine shall be checked and visible. Radio check conducted to ensure that the source of speed indicator, speed event record operational shall be confirmed as soon as possible as after the movement of the locomotive. But as a railway car consists of inspection, whenever the railway car is picked up, it shall be inspected properly. Safety appliances mechanically integrated. The crew shall inspect the following items and ensure the car ensure its safety efficiently in these items readily discovered by the train crew in course of the customary inspections. The indeficiency discovered completely from the railway car deficiency report Appendix B and is in force. A supervisor installation commander shall incorporate these items procedure of conduction of inspection of local railway operations. Directed the car body locomotive for the following: the leaning in, listing in, the side sagging downward, position improperly on truck, and object dragging below object standing for side doors and surely attached and broken and missing safety appliances, leading in black car, hazardous material car. 2. The couplers of the knuckles. The two couplers and knuckles check for cracks, and 4 is confirmed as pin is placed to hold the knuckle when open. The overheated wheels and journal boxes, frictional journal boxing, usually identified by a smoke head, heat up and discover until the catch on fire. Crews then will be observe the train. Every opportunity curves are especially used for the purpose. And stop train immediately. Halt if a hot journal is suspected. If the journal is on fire, it should extinguish quickly to avoid possibility of a car catching fire. The hotter rail roller bearing journals are more difficult to detect. Extending operation, the heat may be and felt as one of the walks, and that can determine the temperature abnormally high. Also, roller bearing heats up is of will and to start the trip of a hot oil discoloration and local linkage. Breakage and excessive cracked wheels. See figures in 3.6 and 3.7. Brakes that fail to release any safety that likely to cause an incident by train arrives in destination. Air brake hoses should be checked during damage to check for damage prior to use of present gasket should be confirmed. Look for date of hose manufacturer. Report of shelf life is exceeded. Refer to figure 3.5. If brake beam shows linkages, mechanical components, breakage system show that the linkage is connected securely, that the rods are not rubbing against binding or any parts, that the brake shoes checked in adequate wear and surface is safe operation. Handbrakes checked in its proper operation. Sand applications and hand-held extinguishers. All safety applicants shall checked in though, and their safety do not present a hazard to anyone knows that during and switching operations. And see figure 3.8. railway car is safety, especially in defects. And exact axles and other truck components and axles checked as to see the no ride chains and the figure rubbing against them. The rust in the truck and shall scanned by the obvious detections and such missing springs and cracked frame and loose dragging components. 13. Loading conditions. Method of condition of securing loads shall be checked by flat cars or the type of railway cars. Inspected lean bodies when possible. Inspect the security load. An initial term of air test. Any type of locomotive, railway cut, or initial air test shall be continued. The procedure is outlined in section 3.4. Any car who does not proceed and release shall be placed at the end of the cars of the cut. Other cars of opposite locomotive complete Form 6 into attachment B turn into the maintenance. Any car whose brakes do not apply released and placed in the end of the cars opposite of the locomotive complete the Form 6 attachment B and turn the form into the maintenance. And D, intermediate train air test. Anytime a railway car, new cut cars is added to the removed railway car, existing cars intermediate test set and release shall be conducted. In conducting integrity of brake line, the trains have not been compromised by added cars. Section 3.4D details. Otherwise, the other inspections are every opportunity. Crew members should scan their train, possibly for defects, running gears, brake rigging, drafting rigging, giving special attention to hot journals, sticking brakes, sliding wheels, defective. Discover the train is moving. Engineer should signal to stop. If defective, control remedial by the crew, remedied by the crew, and the railroad dispatcher shall be notified. Employees shall observe passing trains and defects in condition that indicate the danger of a train, that they shall all practice measures for protection. Truck structures and inspection. Truck maintenance personnel in charge with inspection maintenance safe practices. However, and many members of track crew shall be able to give in several examples to defective shall be reported by train crews and observed for figure 3.10. Several examples of types and boxing of damaged rails it may or encounter shall be reported. The difference shall be reported in accordance with the local railroad operating division directivity, or if the crew member finds any track defect conditions that may cause an accident, they shall condition the railroad dispatcher. If then the defector presence in the safe operation, the crew shall be defective to inspected by qualified personnel before proceeding. Defects that in a category include broken rail, broken joints, broken switch points at adjustments. Some terms shall contain a lookout and low below show crash that crews that shall immediately report the failures from below into the dispatch. Broken rails, tie plate, joint bars, frog switch points. Many of these items are more easily observed in crew members and grounded through the engineer that they may be able to feel such things as a broken frog, a broken and or rotted tie plate cut, or two or more broken rotted ties in a rut, and consider operation of affected tracted as questionable. Wide gauge symptoms in small portions of one rail or both sides of the track. Shiny possibility of wide gauge. The condition of left uncorrected and will lead to wheel drop rail derailment. Excessive damages of broken, damaged rails in figure 3.10. Train crews shall be tracked locations that appear to create excessive force of bang bounce locomotive railway car around. Sections that set up harmonic roll, rock and roll shall be reported. Excessive rock and roll can lead to wheel wheel lift and possible derailment. Show rocking motions that can be led to wheel and derailment. Wheel washout, flooding, any water over the track or having rains over since the train operation potential washout track. Underwater, water contacting in the base rail and shall transverse between being inspected and track maintenance personnel. Loose or missing bolts and joints, uplifting and missing spikes and unsuspended swinging joints and joints are supported in at least one tie. Low joints, proper joints into the stock and correction and tension. Worn switch point projects. General operations, the train operational method, yard limit, the installation commander designates in their local railway operation directive. Examples of classification yards, commercial government, interchangeable yards, bullpens, and holding yards. The following yards are shown as applied to the trains operating within the rail yard. A yard shall be marked, for example, upon entering a yard and signing and stating a yard rules apply. Upon existing, assigning, and stating main line rules apply. When operating with a yard limit, the train locomotive should not exceed the speed which will enable the train to locomotive to stop and short a train and stop and short of another train or a locomotive obstruction or switch or not properly lined. Trains and locomotives operating within the yard shall not exceed 20 miles per hour, repeat 10 miles per hour or lesser speeds as designated in a local SOP. Main line track rules. Main track shall be only existing where excessive and is controlled and means in railroad dispatcher. Operations shall and follow the guidelines of only one train in each absolute block. The railroad dispatcher shall and not only any train's locomotive to occupy the block previously occupied by any other train locomotive until the dispatcher has positive confirmation from a conductor or engineer of the original train locomotive is no longer in the block. The train shall and only be entered into the same block as if controlled by train order rules. Positive sign protection or both flagging protection is necessary. Track crew notice. A track crew notice is necessary to provide a new alerting crews to local situations that arise and covered other by describe the directives and they describe the situations that may present for any period of time. Example of the situation included on or service track or slow orders or without washouts or truck under repair. Inactive track. The situation often presents hazards that crews need to be aware of to operate safely. Notice shall be accepted up to date and reviewed daily. It shall be issued on an as need basis. Crew members shall sign a log show sheet and accompany the track crew notice before any shift that they shall not note the highest notice number percent. See Appendix B, for example, Form 2, the track notice, and Form 3, track notice acknowledgement sheet. One system maintaining crew notice in an electronic print board. Key safety related information is entered in the print board as required. Railroad personnel at the beginning of shifting acknowledgement that they have done the signatures on the board when all they have read and designed and signed, and the railway supervisor provides the copies and provides the record of key information signature and the personnel who have read the information. The train crack. Fuck it. Three, general operations, train operation methods, yard limit rules, installation commander designated yards in the local railroad operating directive. That in examples, classification yards, commercial government, interchange yards, called bullpens and holding yards. The following yards shall apply at all trains of operating